Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to demystify a key financial benefit for millions of Indian employees, gratuity. It's a word you've probably heard thrown around, but do you really know what it means for your money?
You can think of it as a kind of final paycheck. A big thank you for all your years of hard work and loyalty. But here's the real question, the one that matters. Are you absolutely sure you're getting every last rupee you're owed?
Well, that's where gratuity comes in. And listen, this isn't just some nice-to-have gesture. It's your legal right. So over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack exactly what it is, who's eligible, and how you can make sure you claim it. Okay, let's dive right in.
So, let's start at the beginning. What exactly is gratuity when you strip away all the jargon?
Simply put, it's a financial reward that your employer is legally required to pay you for your long-term service. This is all thanks to the Payment of Gratuity Act of 1972. It's basically a standardized, legally protected way for a company to say thanks for sticking around.
Now, a lot of people get this confused with their Provident Fund, or PF, but they're two totally different things. The key difference? Who pays for it? Gratuity is a reward paid 100% by your employer. Your PF, on the other hand, is more like a retirement savings account that both you and your employer contribute to.
Okay, so who actually gets this payment? Let's piece together the eligibility puzzle.
The first and most important number to remember is 5. You have to have completed a minimum of 5 years of continuous service with the exact same employer. That's the first big hurdle.
The size of your company matters, too. This law applies to any organization that has 10 or more employees. And here's an interesting little tidbit. Once a company crosses that 10-employee threshold, the law sticks. They're covered by the act forever, even if their headcount drops back down to 9 or 8.
And you know, the law is actually pretty inclusive. It's not just for full-time, permanent employees. Temporary staff, part-timers, even people paid on a piece rate basis, you're all eligible, as long as you clear that 5-year bar.
But here's where it gets a little tricky and honestly pretty interesting. What happens if you're a long-term contract worker? You might be at the same company for, say, 7 years, but you've been technically employed by a couple of different contractors during that time. This used to be a really confusing gray area, but a huge court ruling brought some much-needed clarity.
And the answer is a big, resounding yes. If you've worked for more than 5 years for the same main company, what the law calls the principal employer, you get your gratuity. The ultimate responsibility lies with them, not the small contractors, and no clause in some employment contract can override this. It's a statutory right, period.
All right, now for the question on everyone's mind. How much cash are we talking about? Let's get into the math.
It all comes down to a pretty straightforward formula. You take 15, multiply that by your last salary, multiply that by the number of years you worked, and then divide the whole thing by 26. Your last drawn salary here just means your basic pay plus your dearness allowance. And that number 26, it's just used as the average number of working days in a month.
Let's make it real. Say hi to Ramesh. His last salary was 50,000 rupees a month, and he put in a solid 20 years of service. So we just plugged those numbers in. 15 times 50,000 times 20, all divided by 26. That gives Ramesh a gratuity payment of 5,76,923 rupees. See? Simple as that. Now, one more thing to keep in mind is that there's a limit on how much you can receive tax-free. This ceiling has gone up over the years to adjust for inflation, and since 2018, the maximum tax-free gratuity you can get is 20 lakh rupees.
So, knowing you're owed the money is one thing, but how do you, actually get it? Understanding the process here is absolutely key.
The process is thankfully pretty clear. First, you need to submit an application called Form I to your employer. Then, your employer calculates the amount and has to give you an official notice. And here's the most important part. They must pay you within 30 days of your last day of employment. The clock starts ticking for them on day 1.
So what if they don't pay on time? Well, the law has some serious teeth. There was a real case where a faculty member, a Mr. Rao, didn't get his payment. The High Court didn't just order the employer to pay up, they ordered them to pay with 8% interest tacked on for the delay, starting from day 31. It's a clear signal that employers are liable when they're late.
Okay, let's get into some of the legal fine print. Because while gratuity is a right, it's not entirely unconditional. there are a few specific times when an employer can challenge it.
This concept is called forfeiture. It means an employer can, legally, deny you your gratuity. But, and this is a really big but, it can only be done under very specific and very serious circumstances.
And the rules here have actually changed quite recently. It used to be, based on a 2018 case, that your employer had to prove misconduct in an actual court of law before they could withhold gratuity. But a newer Supreme Court precedent has shifted things. Now, an employer can potentially forfeit your gratuity based on their own internal disciplinary process, even without a court conviction.
But that does not give employers a free pass to do whatever they want. Legal experts are very clear that the principles of natural justice have to be followed. This means your employer has to give you a formal notice, and they have to give you a chance to be heard to represent your side of the story. The decision can't just be arbitrary. It has to be fair and proportional.
All right, let's just zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. Where does gratuity really fit into your overall financial plan?
So, to wrap it all up, gratuity is a vital, legally backed financial cushion that rewards you for your loyalty. It's a really important piece of your financial security. But you know, the way we all work is changing so fast. The rise of the gig economy is real. And that leaves us with a final, massive question. How do benefits like gratuity need to evolve to make sure they protect the financial future of all workers, not just some?